live coming to you Easter Sunday, 4/9/23. Happy Easter, everyone. Happy Ramadan. Happy Passover. Happy whatever religion or weekend reason you were celebrating. And I hope everyone just had a nice weekend on top of that. And, any reason to spend time with friends and family, if you need a reason or not a reason, is a great reason. So I have a guest. He will be popping on. I'm waiting on him. He's down the window. He's just going to give me a thumbs up when he's ready. Natsman is with friends and family enjoying his Easter Sunday. He's promised me he will be here next Sunday because I told him I'm missing my Natsman. It's 2 weeks in a row. But all is well with him. I hope everything is well with everyone out here. Again, I do have some stories, but I'm going to wait for my guests to come on before I start telling them. And like I said, I've mentioned this before, and we're going to hopefully talk a little bit about this. Why in this grouping, or why do you watch who you watch? Like, are you looking for entertainment? Are you looking for information? A little bit of both. And why do you trust the people you're watching with that information, I guess? And I'll expand on that a little bit later because my good friend Victor, I mean, we'll say it. He's yeah, Mike. Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy? Did the Phillies pull one out today? I know my Mets, they just can't hit. But my man Victor is doing stuff with that news, hobby news and everything. Great information. Victor speaks well. You know his stuff is researched. I have great belief in the information he gives. So I tend to lean to believe what I have high confidence what Victor's telling me is true. He doesn't tell me what to buy, what not. He does have strong opinions on the rookie card. Maybe I don't. I think it's stocky, Paul. You're probably right. I watched a little bit of his newest one today and enjoyed it. Didn't agree with everything. And I was sitting here talking back. Great discussion. And I should have wrote down below. But what we tend to do, we'll be doing other things when we're watching this. Okay, we got Mike O, we got Paul C, we got Reese D Card Ranger. What's going on, fellas? And the ageless one for the Padres is going yard. That man will play for Snoop. Haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Yeah, Funko Pops. I did not buy one. I did get a figure though this past week. I haven't bought one in a while, but then again, I am watching my money a little bit more, measuring my purchases. I've gone through that before. What's up, Doc? I got a retro toy store show that I'm going to this Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that and letting y'all know more about that. And I watch Indie Scoop because I know if I skip it, I might not have another chance. You're right. We need to get Reese. I saw that he did one for the last Philly show, and I'm a bad friend, and I haven't watched it yet. If I don't watch it when it first comes up, it goes back in a rotation, and it's hard for me to find it. I got to remember it's there. So we do need to get Reese on more and more. Looking, we're getting a thumbs up. This man, I was in his chat this past Saturday night with Card Hedger. If you're not watching or listening to that podcast, you need to be with Omar on Retro Hoop Collectibles. It's JD.
What's up, buddy?
Man? Yeah,
dude, I'm starving.
Words the other nights, man. I appreciate it. You got me in the feels.
What's that? Say that again.
Got me in the field Saturday night with the kind words. That was nice of you. I appreciate that.
Well, it's only because it's true, buddy. I love watching you guys. So
I want to ask a question, And then I get an answer, and I'm like, wait a minute, he's on live. It must have been a delay in the answer.
No, that was prior too.
Okay.
Plus, I care about you, man. I want to make sure I answer your questions.
That was the one I was talking about.
What is that, Devers?
Devers rookie.
Oh, nice.
Tribute out of '99, I think. Yeah.
Nice.
Mr. Fisher Bike's interested in it. Me and him trying to be fair with each other, and it's just hard to find pricing on some things like that.
Yep. I was just working with a guy on Facebook for some '90s Manny Ramirez inserts.
Right.
A little high on his prices, but
Right.
I tried to make what I thought was a fair offer, and
is Manny making a resurgence for some reason? I'm hearing that name pop up more and more. And I don't know if I'm talking to more Northeastern people or what.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's making a resurgence, but he's on, like, I see him a lot on some Facebook ad. He's repping some hitting tool. Okay. And then I thought he was coming. Wasn't he making a comeback again in Japan or the Dominican League or something? I don't know.
I thought he was playing down there somewhere. Him, Roberto Colon, and some of those guys.
Yeah. He's 50 years old. He's got to be like 50, 52, right?
Well, yeah. Well, Nelson Cruz just hit one about 50 rows up for the Padres. So
yeah, and he's 45?
So they say.
Yeah.
It's like, ew.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got grandkids watching.
Yep.
So, but he does still look young. I mean, a dude as like, big man, I wouldn't say anything to him.
The guy's legs are like sequoias, man.
Yeah. I mean, he'll DH and he could probably play another 4 or 5 years. Trent Grisham just crushed run too. This Dodd father is not having a good day. Sorry, battery. Yeah. So what I was talking about is like tonight. I watched. I don't know if you've seen Victor and some of these guys doing that news hobby broadcast.
Yeah.
You know, so I listened to Victor. I'm friends with Victor, and I wanted to run some of this by you because we all dabble in this world.
Yep.
So I have high confidence in what Victor tells me is the truth, right? I have no problem with that. And you see some stuff that run across and everybody's talking about it.
Yep.
But why do we believe some of what people tell us as gospel sometimes on the interwebs? You know, why do we watch the people we watch and go, that's the guy? Because I'm sitting there.
I have an answer. I have an answer for Victor.
Yeah.
I think Victor is well prepared when he makes his videos. He does his homework. He's well spoken. I think early on, and I think he still does this a little bit, but early on, he definitely, because I had asked him about this. I said, dude, how are you so well spoken throughout these videos? I'm a firm believer in low budget productions, and
right.
I just say whatever. And he's always, I'm like, he's like, oh, I script, I make my script, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense. So, and then for the amount of time the man's put into the research of the rookie card, I don't know how you can really argue it. You know what I mean?
Right. And me and him have talked a lot about the scripting things because nothing I do is scripted. I'm like you. I'm low budget, low brow.
Yep.
Me and my dad are doing a baseball thing where we're not really scripting, but bullet pointing things, and just basically me and my dad have a conversation every week about anything. Now I'm just recording it for a Monday show.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so but Vic, I think he's slowing down on the. I think he's doing more of the bullet point thing.
Yeah,
but yeah. So I watched his one he released today. Great information. I can tell you right now why they're still printing cards from last year's because of contractual.
Sure.
Reasons.
Yeah.
Why they have to print so many of those cards. So what? It's a year back. I'm the same way. I'm like, why would a prospect card from 2 years ago mean anything to me that's in a box today? But do people not put boxes in their closet
Right.
and sell them to people 2 years from now?
Yep.
For that
Especially if there's
same
good prospects, right?
exactly. And so with that understanding, you know why people are getting them. You got J Rod, you got a few other
Yep.
guys in that product. You got
Yep.
Jason Dominguez, Volpe, some guys that are rookies this year.
Right.
That's a prospect card. So even though we know once they're rookies, the first card or prospect card goes down, it's still a chase.
Still desired. It's still
Yeah,
desired.
and people like me that collect players,
Right.
and you collect players as well.
Yeah.
There's something to that. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I think and let me ask you this though, as a player collector, do you get, especially with like the new stuff, do you get to a point where you're like, screw this? I'm like with all the parallels and everything.
What happens to me is I fall in love with one certain card every year, it seems.
Okay.
Like. And I really like that picture. I really like how it's done. It's something that just hits you in the right area. And I'm like, I want to collect all of those. Right?
Okay.
Or as many as I can get. Not all. You're not going to get the 1-on-1s. You might not get the 1-of-5. Because I'm not going to break the bank because it's a red 1-of-5. Because I think that's stupid. That's $5,000 and the base card's $4. It doesn't make sense to me.
No,
it's the same
I agree.
Color with the different
little serial number on it.
Right. Should it be a little bit more, but maybe not that. That happens to me sometimes. I don't like all the variants. I'm old school. I wish we only had the flagship and that's it.
Yeah.
I am that guy. But I'm not quite mad at all the different cards because it's fun. It just
sure. It is though to a point though, right? I mean,
right. I don't need 70 different levels. I was glad they got rid of opening day this year.
Yeah.
Because they need to get rid of that picture. We already have that in Holiday, Sapphire.
Sure, yeah.
There are going to be 8,000 versions of that one card. And then they took. I've been singing the praise of Topps so far this year because they took Big League and they went over the moon with it for a low end entry card for kids and people that are on a budget.
Yep.
It's an awesome. The only thing they screwed it up, and I don't mean this in a negative way to anybody that's pictured on these, is by putting the internet
on it,
right?
Yep.
So they should have put that in Allen and Ginter to me. That should have been the Allen and Ginter card. Because they do that. Point. They already do that in Allen and Ginter. It doesn't make any sense to do that in Big League. Big League is like, food from around the, baseball, mascots and first pitches and fun stuff. They used to put dirt from the fields in some of the material cards for the card things. But
why do you?
Awesome.
Why? Geez, hot sauce went down the wrong pipe. Why do you think they did that? For those guys, I have no idea. I know they probably were like, oh well, we have, because Fanatics is all over these guys. Yeah,
Fanatics is using these guys. You're gonna. I told y'all and y'all's. I think Fanatics is going to have a one-stop shop page where you're going to see channels on there. You're going to see breakers, and then you're going to see. Then they're going to have. They already have a sales page for memorabilia. That they're going to have all of that.
I think they're going to have a full-blown marketplace.
Right, a marketplace. It's already kind of set up for that.
Yep, it's there.
Right,
it's there for the memorabilia. Right. I don't see why they don't do that for the cards.
Right. What I've seen also, and what I've talked to some of my local shop owners, it seems like they're getting stuff now a little easier now, and at a
Really?
better price point.
That's
My actual LCS here, Score More Sports cards here in
yep.
Winston-Salem, they actually sell cards $5 less than what's on the Topps website for a
Really?
box. Yeah,
Really?
just start out, unless something goes crazy, and
Yep. Right, baby.
How you doing, Kamikaze? We everybody check out Kamikaze. I'll check him out as soon as I leave here. So I got in touch with my buddy that runs the one in Iowa, and he doesn't go through anybody. He has to go through a secondary guy because he doesn't have anything. He doesn't sell enough to have something set
Okay.
up. So he has to join in with other shops, and they buy it and split it. But it seems like they're not having an issue to get cards like they did with all the breakers were having the first shot.
Sure. Which is good for everybody, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
That to me is a good sign where, the breaker thing, to just go back to that a little bit, you're spot on. I mean, they've already mentioned that, right? I think they're going to they certainly have the cash to kind of do whatever they need to do or want to do, right? So I could see like a streaming network. I could see, getting on ESPN or ESPN Plus or the Ocho or whatever, you know what I mean? Like they're going to be on something.
Fanatics, they're going to be in every sporting arena that has basketball, football, or baseball. I wouldn't be surprised at all of those events. There's not going to be a Fanatics event or a Fanat. They're already in all they're already the clothes that are being sold in this pro shop, right? So, and they're already selling the cards out there. I just think it's just an easy transition.
Yeah,
I already buy most of my sports clothes from Fanatics because they make my size. They make keyboard sizes.
Yep.
So
they make nice hats. So I'm down.
Right. And well, I actually got a hat from Baseballism today. Have you ever checked that website out?
What's that?
Baseballism. It's out of Iowa. It's like it's out right next to Field of Dreams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they do a lot of like Ken Griffey Jr. stuff and things like that. Yeah, and
is that the one that you see the T-shirt with like Griffey's face on it with the backwards hat or that thing?
On a bubble. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's from Baseballism. Yeah, things like that. They do stuff with. They have. I think they do a couple of baseball movies and stuff. They have and stuff. So so I got one of the Griffey hats today.
Are they the one? Nice.
Yeah,
nice. I've been looking at that. Like, should I buy that? Should I not? I also saw the Ricky Vaughn jerseys are back for sale. Yeah, so I need a Ricky Vaughn jersey, big time. That movie was great.
Our boy Nats, man, he likes that type of stuff. Does he have the Ricky Vaughn? I think he does.
I feel like he does.
He's got that one. He's got the glasses, and I think he's got the jersey. And I know he's got the Bad News Bears one because I've gone to a show with him wearing that. And that was a hit.
Nice.
But we had to explain to people because it's got complete with the bail bonds.
Yeah.
And people won't catch it on to that. They didn't understand. I had to actually explain that to a few people. That it wasn't a bail bondsman. That it was. You never seen a Bad News Bears? Like,
there's movies that like I quote constantly, and people are like, "Oh, what's that from?" And I'm like, "What? How have you not seen that?" And it's like Top Gun. How have you not seen Top Gun?
Well, I'm gonna probably get yelled at from everybody that's in the chat down below. I've never seen Sandlot, right? And I always make a point, to watch it. Because I'm at that age where when it came out, I want to say I was like 20-ish, in my late teens, maybe. And I was just a little too old and too cool to watch it, and never
Really?
gone back. And you know what I'm saying? It's just kind of. I was a little bit. If you couldn't notice by what I was telling you, what I used to wear and where I worked at,
Yeah.
a little more crazier than what I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah. You were a badass back in the day.
so yeah, things like that, like Goonies and stuff like that. Never seen it.
What?
Yes, that's I have all my
Dude,
friends.
one more, and you're about to lose your card as an American. Oh my god! You haven't seen the Goonies? Holy gan! How have you? All right, so the Sandlot is one of those things where, like the original one, I could watch that anytime. It's just one of those classic movies from back in the day.
Really?
The remakes are just lame.
That's pretty cool. If you didn't know that,
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that. It's pretty cool.
And Spencer Strider's pretty nasty too.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm on such a Braves kick lately too. I don't get it.
Good. But they're not good this weekend. But they're good.
Yeah. He's unsubscribing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, Scott. You gotta watch those. You gotta watch the Goonies.
I do. I know. I sit here some nights and I'm like, I don't feel like watching the same old TV, catching up. I want to watch a movie, and I'm sitting here going, what do I want to watch? And I don't. It doesn't click until like somebody says it later, and I'm like, oh, I should have watched.
Have you watched the Nolan Ryan documentary on Netflix?
No, I have not. I went to go watch Reggie Jackson last night, and I ended up watching. What did I watch? Oh, I ended up catching up on TV shows.
So I think it's called like The Express or something. I don't know, something like that.
Netflix.
It's on Netflix. It's really it's like an hour.
Netflix. Yeah,
all right.
I don't have Netflix.
It's for anybody in the chat. It's all good. It's like an hour 20, hour 30 minutes. It's really really good. Goes through his whole career.
I do love some Nolan. Man.
Wow. All right.
I remember watching his last no hitter at my friend's house with me and him and a couple of the Ferris sex were in the pool and watching his last no hitter. So
what was he, 45 when he threw his last no hitter?
Yeah, I was like, this guy's like I had when I was a youngster, what's going on, Ray for Philly? Ziggy, how you doing tonight? When I was a freshman in high school, I shattered both forearm bones, had plates and pins put in. And they came out with this thing that said at the age of 45, like all the stuff he's doing, what are you doing with your life? And I had that poster on my wall like all through high school. Hey, Paige, Dinner Bean, how you doing, bud? Oh, thanks, Ziggy, for the sub. Happy holidays.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, so while I got people here, I want to tell a little story. Last Sunday night, I had a good Sunday night with everybody on here. We had a good discussion, laughing. We threw in some hobby talk in there like we usually do. So I get off. I'm going to catch up on the WrestleMania, that Sunday night WrestleMania. If you only can watch one night, watch Saturday night. Screw Sunday night. It sucked. So while I'm waiting for it to finish to watch the replay, I get a knock at my door 12 o'clock at night. And it's like the police. And guess what? It was the police.
Get out.
So your boy Scott, Big Scott 35, got swatted Sunday night.
Really?
So, yes. So I almost pooped myself when I opened the door, and there was a couple policemen. It wasn't full scale, but it was enough where it got me really nervous. And the cop was standing there. He was standing off to the side, unbuckled, and like the gun unsnapped.
Get out.
Gun. Yeah, and I was like, "Can I help you?" Like that. Said they had a phone call of a woman in my apartment yelling, "Put the gun down." I was like, well, that's wrong on every step because there's nobody in here but me, and I don't own a firearm. So, and I said, just, that cop looks scary too. And that made me even more nervous because I was like,
Holy
oh my
shit.
God, this dude. Yeah. That was
So what ended up happening?
He searched my house, my apartment. He was
Yeah.
like, can I go in it? Yeah, go wherever you need to go, brother.
Yeah.
And I kept my hands out the whole time.
Yeah.
And so he's thinking maybe he was in another apartment. He just got the letter wrong and started going to the other apartments. Then he came back to me, took down some information. I haven't heard anything else. But that was, and only, I have
Holy
a P.O.
crap.
box. I only give up my P.O. box, right? Only a handful of like food delivery people, of course.
Sure.
And know my address. And that's it. And that was scary. I gotta tell you, you read stories and hear about it. I just think somebody got the wrong letter because we have a rambunctious group that live in this one apartment complex. They'll hand out letters like once a month about noise. I never really hear anybody except a dog next door to me howling all the time.
Yeah,
but that was scary,
dude. Oh man, wasn't there just a story too? I feel like I just saw something where
a guy at work was
they stormed the wrong house and shot the guy.
Yeah, see, when you hear those stories, they usually, they usually don't, end up well. That's what scared me. Once I found out what was going on, I was like, oh shit.
Oh man, that's crazy, dude.
Be in the Indian squat with my hands behind my back. They never put the bracelets on. I haven't had those on in about 30 years. I never want to have those on.
Yeah, I've thankfully I've been pepper sprayed before. That's not really fun. That's not fun at all. Yeah, right. I was caught in the line of fire, like as a bystander watching a fight outside a bar, and the cops the guy went nuts, and I was like, ah. Awful, man.
I got cuffed and ready to be stuffed. They were just because I was being a smart ass one night.
Did you have a turtleneck on?
I did. I had. Yes. I can't remember the name of the baggy pants with like the plaid thing, and like I had what? Did I have black Reeboks on? I think I had that with a black trench coat. I remember everything like it was yesterday. In my black Pirates hat.
Sheesh.
Yeah, and I
like the Candyman.
I had necklaces on. No, man, Chuck D, brother.
Wow. Wow, dude, this is a whole nother side of you
that was that night. I thought I was getting cuffed. All that was I was eating in Burger King, and then somebody else. The management called for somebody else, and I was just in there. So it was our little hangout in my town.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday night, everybody met up there to go somewhere else. So
where'd you grow up? Did you grow up in Virginia?
Yeah, in Colonial Heights, Virginia. Yeah.
I don't know where that is.
Yeah,
I know
it's on 995.
I know like cities along 95 and where Bobbles lives. That's about it.
I'm south of Bobbles on 90, south of Richmond.
Okay, all right.
So right beside, if you know where Petersburg is, we're part of Tri-Cities with Petersburg, Hopewell.
No. Is that near Norfolk?
Norfolk's out west. I mean east.
East, it's on the coast, right?
Yeah, Norfolk. That's where the boats and military. My mom lives in Newport News. But so
all right.
I mean, my town, we had our first African American graduate in my class.
Wow.
That's how white my town was. I mean,
holy crap.
Yeah. So I had to be the black guy. I had the 6x9s bouncing down the street. Yeah. And I sent you that picture. So the other guy that's wearing a turtleneck in that picture.
Yeah.
He broke all of our records at quarterback in our town, right?
Oh, okay.
And the only reason he would play quarterback, he wanted to play corner, and they didn't allow our quarterback to play defense. So he's like, I got to play corner because he idolized. If you see what he's wearing red and black, Atlanta Falcons.
Yep. He loved the Coach Prime.
Yes, he as soon as Prime got his last coaching gig, he had the hat. Now he's got a Colorado hat.
Yeah,
he's a preacher now. That guy's a preacher. So
really,
yeah.
What? What? Real quick, you think Buffalo's top 10 this year?
No, it's going to take him. It's a lot harder to build there than it will be where he was at. Because he can get just a few recruits and really make it.
They're loaded. They're loaded.
Yeah, but just because you're loaded doesn't mean you got a team, right?
No, I understand that.
Yeah, so it's going to take a while to get the levels to be a top 10, I think.
Sure. All right. How about top 25? How about top 25?
Yeah, they might sneak. Hey, let's get them a bowl win first.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
And then in 3 years, I'm going to say top 10 easily, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
Like,
I think ultimately he ends up back at Florida State in a few years.
Do you think?
I think.
Yeah, it might be. You go 3-peat, might be.
Dude, Georgia's nasty. They're nasty.
Well, the reason the SEC is the same things. I mean, my dad talked about the National League East is, steel sharpens steel. So you got these these guys that, they might not play each other week in and week out, but they're going to play 3 or 4 or 5 times.
Sure.
And those games just get you ready to play anything at any time.
Right.
That's why they're saying, Carolina needs to get the quarterback from Georgia and not the Ohio State one, because that way you got a guy that's played in a little bit more high pressure games to come right in and play.
Oh, no, the Alabama guy, you mean?
I mean, the Alabama guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so the Alabama kid played more high pressure games. Bring him in where the Ohio State kid hasn't played. He's played Big Ten.
Yeah, Big Ten football. It's not what it used to be.
Right. Yeah. It was more hitting between Iowa and LSU than it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, has anybody seen any of the memes of the girl from LSU and
Angel?
Iowa? Yeah, and the girl from Iowa, Caitlin. Where they're they've done people have made them in the 2K3 wrestlers game, where you can build characters and have them wrestling each other. I'm like, they even come out and said it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah. Well, that's society, right, man? I mean, we overreact to everything now. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't even know she had a Sports Illustrated card. It's a little expensive right now, but that'd be kind of cool to have that. Victor was, saying how that's like $100 right now.
Really?
Yeah. But if she's good in WNBA, it's still going to probably. Victor thinks it's going to go down, but those Sports Illustrated cards somehow keep their value. I mean, there's some of those cards. They do. First off, if you in a day of grading, if you get a good graded card that's perforated and has a good grade,
those are tough.
There. Yeah,
especially the older ones, right? Because we ripped those things out and nope, I teared it. Can we get another one?
I look for some of the older ones, like not the main sport guys, like tennis and because I female tennis when I was growing up was awesome. You had all those that was like when it first got to be really good. That was the first female sport that really jumped up. And men's tennis was fun too at that time. Now it's kind of bland. Nobody yells at each other.
Yeah, there's no throwing rackets or anything. Like Agassi was like first kind of like bursting on the scene when I was younger. Pete Sampras, those guys, man, they had battles, and then what it's kind of turned into.
I was lucky.
Some of these guys are just so good. It's like, what's that?
McEnroe Connors battles.
Yep.
I mean that you want to talk about screaming and McEnroe was great. So
he still does.
Yeah,
he'll yell at you in the streets.
That's right. You better have his beat cut right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
yeah, that's type of thing there. But I want to see if she actually leaves too. But anyway, back to what we were talking. Why do we watch? I think we watch certain people with high confidence, and I think a lot of these people that got on during the COVID think if you have 6,000, 10,000 subscribers, you're the guy. And
Yeah.
the guy that might have 1,000 subscribers, he's struggling and don't know much. In actuality, he might know more. I'm more of a hashtag watch the games anyway type of guy. If you look at stats and see who's hot and you have an understanding, because once I hear a guy tell me to buy a pitcher, I know better than to put my money into a pitcher unless I'm a collector, which I am.
Yeah.
So
see, I like pitchers, not necessarily while they're currently throwing, because
right.
but like the prior guy, like I'm a big Pedro guy, right? Like Pedro, Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson. I look at those guys and I'm like, man, these cards are just dirt cheap.
Yeah,
Dirt
yeah,
cheap.
and they get little. They're the centers of baseball. I call them the football centers. Uh, the
Right.
wide receivers. They don't. To me, they're just as important as any hitter, but that's not where to me, you look at some of these pitchers like Kershaw and Verlander and Scherzer, these guys that have been around for a long time and have done it, they get no hobby love. And then when they get to the Hall of Fame, they get a little bit.
Right.
But in baseball, it's no rhyme or reason anyway. You got Goldschmidt and Arenado out there. You can buy their cards for next to nothing.
Yeah, cheap.
So, and they're two of the best at their positions. So, yeah, Randy Johnson, super underpriced. I agree with
Like,
that. I mean,
I just grabbed a bunch of his stuff off of Buy Sports Cards the other night, and it was like I paid, I want to say maybe $20 for, it was probably about 10 cards. It was like $2 a card, numbered cards. I was like, all right. And again, like, it's all relative, right? But I'm like, okay, I'll just keep buying these things.
Seems like to me, and this is the times we live in. If you say Randy Johnson, somebody newer that has any recollect of the guys that's been here before them,
Sure.
First thing they're going to ask for, or are you looking for the one with the Marlboro picture in the back?
Yeah.
They're not even wondering if you're getting the base cards. Like,
right.
How is this one different than the other ones? That's the only one I want. And that I get a little with that a little bit. It's nice to have those if you're collecting that stuff, but it seems like that's the first thing they want to jump through. And then the next thing is, oh, well, how many of those are 10s?
Right.
What is the pop count?
Right.
And
I look at it like, for me, when I'm buying stuff for myself, I look at it, A, do I have it? And B, is it cool? Right.
Right.
And then does it fit into what I want to spend? Because
right.
I've kind of like tweaked a little bit of what I want to spend where I'm comfortable at right now. I'm really kind of getting cheap right now. I don't know why, but I just think there's a lot of good value out there for like $2 to $10 that I'm like all over it.
I know you sell cards to up your buy what you want. And I mean, you have a basketball team living in your house, so you have to outside money coming in to fund this, And I say that in joke. You have how many children?
4.
So you got your wife plays center, and the other so that's and plus I've already heard that they all leave the lights on all the time, so you got hired.
Yep, they do.
So I'm just glad that I haven't heard yet a lot, and we know people get in binds for buying cards out of their range and then have to sell them to recoup. But I haven't heard a lot of, I got to sell cards to pay the rent.
Right. Right.
And I've been waiting for those stories to come up.
And I think like, you know, like I think Mike O just posted the other night in his group. Didn't he just post something about he hit like 10,000 cards listed on eBay?
Yes.
Like that's impressive stuff, right?
Yes.
I just upped my eBay store to like the next level from like the JV version to like move up to the varsity a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
So like I'm able to do like 1,000 listings, which is still I don't know if I'm gonna even get there
Right.
without some type of like scanning process, right? But I certainly am able to do like 250 without like kind of really anything thinking of it. I think like the selling piece of it is fun, right? Like I do.
I can see that
There's
very easily. Mm-hmm.
especially if you price your cards. Again, I'm selling a lot of like cheaper stuff. I really like that eBay standard envelope process. 20,000. Good God, Mike. That's impressive. That is impressive. But for me, like that standard envelope thing kind of changed a lot of what you're able to do now, right? Where, before it wasn't worthwhile to ship because you're paying $4 to ship.
Right.
And for a 25-cent, 30-cent, whatever, $1.25 card, it's like, yeah, do I really want this card? I'm going to move on. I just got my first negative feedback in 18 years on eBay.
I know, but you sent us that group chat.
Dude, I was so pissed.
I didn't know what to say because I don't deal with that. And I'm glad Bobbles jumped in and kind of talked because I was like, man, and I know you. I know you're not going to go out and like do this. And you gave him a better card.
I don't get, and he got to keep the other card. So like, what the hell? Like, whatever. I don't want to rehash that because it just aggravates me. But I couldn't believe it. I was like, anyway. Anyway,
maybe he's already has the 8.5, and that 8, he's got 1, 2.
Yeah, he really need. He only had like 39 feedback too, so it was like, what are you doing, man? Like, and then you can't like the process to like get feedback removed on eBay is you can leave I can like leave a reply to it, so I did, but like to get it removed, like what Bobbles was saying, I didn't see like what he was talking about. I think was like the reply piece,
right?
But other than that, like
JT walked me through it one time because he's had to do it on a similar reasoning too. Believe it or not, this is Triple Crown 24.
Yeah,
and he's another one that has a pretty big store on there. Hey, Mike, how many cards do you say you put on there a day? About 100? I don't. Every time I talk to him, he seems I'm just sitting here listening.
Mike, do you scan your cards, Mike?
He needs to do a video on what he does because him and Bobbles need to give a class.
Dude, Bobbles sent me some tips. Game changer.
Right.
Game changer.
Well, I heard you explaining it because, I have a listing. I have a bunch of cards. I would like to get all my cards out, except the ones that are in my PC. But man, it just seems like I'm looking at, I don't know, 60 boxes of 3,500 count boxes, and I'm like, where do I start?
Yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, and the majority of them. My problem is if they're worth anything, they're in my collection.
Yeah,
they're not the ones I want to get rid of. Like if you're trying to be a set collector or a player collector, So Mike did 400 cards today.
Sheesh. Did 15 before I got on with you, and I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And like,
yeah, so when I was doing them before, I could scan them like you were saying, where I can do a bunch, 10 on my printer at one time or whatever, and scan them in. And I was looking at those handheld scanners or whatever.
Yeah,
you ever seen those? But I was like, how do these people do so many in one day?
All right. Yeah, so he's got the scanner. The
He's got
the feeder thing, man, makes a difference. If you can scan those, like you can get 2 images up in a second. It's
right.
you know, um,
But I'm so slow at typing and putting in information. I mean, I'm at this is the age I am. So I'm 51. When I took typing in high school, we were still doing typewriter. I was clicking it back over,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I go to college. I take first semester. I'm like, maybe I'm going to take a semester off. So I took a year and a half off, went back.
yeah,
Now typing is on computers,
yeah,
and I have to learn spreadsheets and all this stuff. And I'm like, holy cow, I was only out a year and a half.
Where did I go?
So I'm still like, I have a bad left arm. I have tendonitis. I'm getting a shoulder surgery the 26th of this month. My arm, my body's beat up. So for me, typing is like, I can't type for so long, and I don't know how you guys do it.
It's like I've found like with eBay, if you create like listing templates, old Scott 35. If you create templates, you can bang them out.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing y'all say about templates, and I probably have to contact one of y'all to.
Yeah, it's easy. If you play around on eBay for a little while, they actually do have some pretty handy features. So it is what it is. I like I said, when I talk about it in my videos, when I'm listing cards and sorting cards and whatever, like either the door right here is shut and it's just kind of like my hour or two of leave me alone, you know.
Right.
So I don't mind that it's like, I'm not super efficient. If I had to step up to like Mike's level or something like that, where you're talking thousands of cards, you definitely, I think, need the scanner at that point.
Right.
If not, you'd be doing it all day long.
So let's get to what you're for a second. You do card hedge.
Yep.
You're the guy that's putting the cards in.
Yep.
Right. Now you've got 2 other people helping you, right? Have I heard you say that before?
Yeah, sporadically. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, one card, whatever, a little bit, I guess, would help with what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So how many cards you have on there right now?
Just shy of 500,000.
500,000. And to let people know, if you do go to Card Hedge and you decide you want to get on it, he doesn't have the card, shoot him a message and he'll try to.
Yeah, we try to upload them quick. That's been like our thing, because nothing's more frustrating than trying to find a price and you don't have the card, right?
How does that go? You just find a picture of that card and upload it, or?
Yeah, so like we have like some kind of. I'm not nearly as anal about it as River is.
Okay.
He gets into like full on edit mode, and like I just find like if I have, if I can find a good image from PWCC, because they have, really clear images, right. I just save it, edit it, and put it on. He'll take it a step further, and erase the barcode or whatnot. I try to, when I can, if there's a good lower grade picture, I try to use those, because who's going to scam a PSA 4 or 5 on like a,
right.
You know what I mean? On like a,
right. Because you're just using the picture as a reference of what the
card is. Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, that's
like, oh, that's what it looks like, or oh, that's what that is, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right. And I mean, it's a good source. I applaud anybody that does buying. I'll scan it. If I go outside of my wheelhouse of where I really need help, like I need help on a card on pricing, I sent this man a message because he sees so many of them. He's going to know about, what it's going to be. I sent him and Mike, because Mike puts up 4,000 cards a minute.
Christ.
So
Mike's
somebody would have an idea of how much a card would be. So I was just wondering, because you're sitting there telling me how long it takes you to do eBay, and then I know you got that much cards you're doing. So my gosh, you must be looking at cards all the time.
A lot. And you know what though? Like the thing is, right? Like my day job is super stressful and aggravating, and it's just not fun. It's not fun anymore.
And that's sad because what you do, it makes is a huge difference in in communities and people's lives. I don't know if you want to say what you do, but
yeah, you can say it. It's okay. I'm in education. I'm an assistant principal. It's all good.
Which, to me, right now, the hate for school teachers and stuff like that is, on one hand, we're going to tell you what to teach our kids, but on the other hand, we want you to carry a gun and
we're
going to be mad at you. And but anyway, that's politics.
Yeah, that's politics. That could take.
I
do a whole.
I have a lot of friends that are school teachers, and I hear it, and it just, to me, it's. But anyway, when you tell me it's stressful, it's sad. I've heard you say that.
It is though, but I've gotten really good at, when I walk out the door at the end of the day to like go pick up my son from school, I'm done. Right. Early on in my career, I'd bring stuff home and I'd be super stressed and like dwelling on things all night. And then I finally learned, like maybe 6-7 years ago, like, the hell am I doing? So I walk out the door and that's the end of that.
This is a great. It took me almost an hour to get to this segue. Great for this question. So you do Card Hedge, you do eBay, you collect. You have you got some great Jordans, some oddball stuff.
Yep.
Very nice. You do Boston area stuff.
Yep.
Awesome stuff. Now, for me, I am very conscious on my PC of what I do. So, are you really into all the news that the hobby brings, where you think we need all these channels doing breaking hobby news, or do you care if Jeff Wilson says something?
No, I don't. I don't really pay attention to any of it, and I think that's been one of like probably the better things I've learned. Like, there's channels that I watch like sort of religiously, just because A, either we're friends, or B, I like what they have to say. But I don't, the way I look at it is, the money in my card account is the money I've earned, and I'm going to spend that how I like. And if it's, I overpay for a Boston Bruins card, or if it's, I got a sweet deal on something at a card show, more power to me. Right. You know what I mean? It's my collection.
That's, you brought up a great point. So, if a card is out there like the Sports Illustrated card, there's only a finite number. Once a few years from now, a lot of those go into collections or just get lost. Yep. And you're a collector of people, great players from Iowa. You don't have a lot to, it's out of Kettle and a couple of tight ends. What are you going to be doing?
Right.
The guy from Iowa, So this is a big card for you. So paying $100 might be overpaying in the long run. But is it overpaying if you want that card in your collection?
Right.
I have a problem with people telling me what's overpaying and not. If I want to pay $100 and I find it okay, so be it.
Yeah, I mean, I think overpaying too is all within reason, right? Of what you're comfortable spending.
Right.
Some people watching may be, cool with thousands of dollars. I'm not that guy. Like, if I was going to drop thousands.
Right.
I have to be.
It's funny that somebody will tell you you're overpaying for that, but pay, $24,000 on a rookie RPA of some guy that hasn't done nothing.
Right. So that I never understand. You don't understand that. I never will.
It makes no sense. And they're, some guy that played 30 years ago, you can get for $20.
That's a good point too that Carlisle makes there. Like, I think it's. Like, for me, I have like a little bit of a different hat that I wear, right? Like, sometimes I'm like the business guy, which I'm not like really good at marketing, because I never ever market anything that I should be doing, because I don't want to be like that guy, And then at the same time, since getting back into cards again, man, like, I realized like I was missing this. It's fun. Like, it's fun to look at these things and like, you know, I have a few like 85 tops Roger Clemens rookie cards. They're worth, you know, whatever they're worth, but to me they're worth so much more because like I grew up, I lived with my nana, my mom and my nana. My mom was a single mom and we lived with her mother, my nana. And she was a huge Red Sox fan. And like she loved Roger Clemens. So like I don't care, steroids, no steroids, whatever, throwing grenades, whatever, I don't care.
Right.
And then I actually got to meet Roger a couple years ago, like randomly at Fenway Park. He was the nicest dude ever. So it like solidified like my love for Roger Clemens. Now I met Nomar Garciaparra. He was my like hero growing up. And when I met him, I was like, this guy sucks. He was, really? I was like, that was it. I was done. I was all done.
I've been so happy that the players I love I've met, they haven't disappointed me. They've overshot expectations. Even some that I heard were, I met Reggie Jackson and he was awesome. He was LT awesome. Some people
I'd love to meet LT, man.
Yeah. I got some friends that hung out with him. They got great stories. If some of them are on here, here's Don, Field of Dreams. I only overpay on Mike's and Mike sales. Yeah, so that was a great segue because to me, I'm listening to what Victor was saying, and I'm listening, and most of it I love, but most of it, like the Panini stuff going on where people are leaving Panini to go to Fanatics, I care less. What does that mean to me? Give me my product. That's all I care. Give me what's the next. I want Fanatics to tell me what are they replacing the product they took out with.
Right. Or I like to see them take out more product. I would actually care. Actually, I lied. If they announced they were going to cut some more product, I think I would do a cartwheel. Like,
right.
I really do.
But you know, they're not cut. They're just going to replace it with something else. That's the thing. They just haven't said anything yet. So, you know, that's awesome. Actually, Battery really good.
Yeah, that is great.
So, you know,
but Mike's right in the comments there where he put, who wouldn't rather pay $300,000 for a 17-year-old prospect rather than a Hall of Fame legend? And like that's the stuff for me. Like I don't understand, right? Like
that's awesome. Battery.
With the basketball stuff, like I love the 90s basketball, the 80s, and when I grew up, like when you grew up, basketball was a completely different game. I think that's really important though, and I think like for guys our age, it's really hard to watch basketball now because it's a completely different game,
right?
And there's no more loyalty, you know, and there's no more, which I understand. Like if you told me, listen, I'll give you $300 million to go play for the Houston Rockets. All right, sign me up. You know,
well, let me tell you, when we were, you know, late 80s, 90s basketball, every team had a nickname. You had Run TMC, you had you know Bad Boys of the Midwest. You had everybody had this little cliche, you know, Showtime. You had all this, and everybody had 1, 2, or 3 players that you wanted to watch those matchups, man. Everybody wore the Converse color match shoes of their team, and and that was great stuff, man. Like, you know, when I see Omar with that Houston jacket behind him, that brings back great memories of my starter days. You know, with all the starter jackets. You know, it was just live and vibrant then, and now it's kind of basketball. Now it's just get to the playoffs and then we'll start.
Yeah, it's a strange game. Carlisle, first off, man, that's great news about your nephew, man.
Yes.
I hate to see kids or young kids. I don't know how old your nephew is. I'm assuming he's younger. You never want to see a kid sick. That's the worst thing ever. There's no more of a helpless feeling than seeing your child like sick in the hospital or something. Oh God. So I wish that upon no one, like ever. But yeah, you know, so with my point I was trying to make there was when I'm looking at Kobe Bryant rookies and they're cheaper than a Zion or a John Morant, and I'm saying to myself, all right, like what's going on here? You know, like you know, I'm a big Kevin Garnett fan. He's not the greatest well, he's one of the greatest players of all time, but he's not like he doesn't get a whole there are some I shouldn't say that because there are some loyal Kevin Garnett collectors that I battle it out with over cards all the damn time.
It's
Drives
always
me
surprised
insane.
when you go get something that's not you. Oh, I'll be the only one to be able to get it, and it's like, what?
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, and there's one dude with wicked deep pockets that like just crush it. I'm like, all right, man, whatever.
Right.
But like, you see now, and again, I think maybe because the game AAU, I think, has played a big role in the way basketball is now, where these kids are seeing each other from like the time they're 10, and the elite kids are seeing each other almost all the time because they're in these like little teams that travel and whatever. They're boys. Like I get it, right? I get it. There's no more like you're finding the kid in the gym dunking in southeastern Kentucky that you're like, I never even heard of this kid. Who the hell is this? And so everybody knows everybody.
I haven't even really thought of that because basketball to me, I've left that behind me a long time ago. Not a long time ago. It just I was a huge college basketball fan. A pretty. I would watch NBA because I liked sports, but now I just there's so much sports now year round.
Yeah,
that I don't need it.
Yeah,
and I don't miss it.
Yeah,
I like some of the stories, but it's interesting. It's I hear the West is kind of crazy right now, stuff like that. It's pretty neat to listen to. But
I don't really watch it. I actually don't watch the NBA at all. I mean, right now it's hockey season, so and my Bruins are steamrolling everybody. So,
this is true. Yeah, but the playoffs is a different monster.
The playoff hockey is a whole nother animal altogether. It's like a completely different. It's completely different.
It's
so
almost
I've got my fingers crossed.
Just stand up in each blue line and see if you can get by me.
Yep.
It's played in between the blues a lot more than regular season hockey.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, like hockey is one of those things too where Kraken, man, like for an expansion team, they're well on their way to being.
Hockey does expansion better than any sport.
Yes. Yeah.
Their expansion has a better chance of competing straight up than any other sport that's out there.
Yeah, Vegas did it a couple years ago, right? I mean, they won the cup.
Yeah.
It's nice to see, like, you look at Connor McDavid and things he's doing right now, and it's silly.
Right. You said his name right.
Yeah, it's silly. No, it's just insane watching him play because he is legit faster than everybody. It's crazy, right?
Well, the reason why I like hockey is because of Gretzky for those same exact reasons. The things he used to do from behind the net, he just kill you. And just, I mean, I love watching Pavel. Then that hooked me up Pavel Bure back in the day, the Russian.
The Russian Rockets.
So I mean, I got it right behind me, right there. That's his autograph picture. I can't point to it, right?
Yeah,
there.
He's right there. I see him. Is he right above Ric Flair?
Right above Flair. So that's Pavel Bure, right beside Brooks Robinson. All that.
Nice.
Yeah. So that they had that at the National. Back when what's that name? There used to be it still is. They do the baseball vintage baseball, not vintage baseball, something cards, and every morning or twice a day they would put out a couple of things for cheap.
Yeah.
So, it was kind of it was nice back. They can't do that anymore, but
the Atlanta Flames.
Ran the table. Man, how long ago was that with the Flames? Atlanta Flames. My God, that is.
Where did they move back to? Did they move back to Winnipeg?
I think so. I think that's the Winnipeg Jets now.
Yeah.
So it's either them or the Whalers. I can't remember which. I get confused. So
The Whalers are the Hurricanes,
is
Carolina
that who it
Hurricanes.
is? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Hurricanes are playing pretty well too. I got to
they
hear
are.
about
You know what?
Oh,
They're like the Bruins
Calgary.
kryptonite. Calgary.
Yeah.
Calgary. All right.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because when the playoffs start, Raleigh is I can get there in 40 minutes. So
Yeah. Yeah. When I drove home from Florida last spring, we drove up 77 maybe or something like that. And that brings you right through Charlotte. What brings you right through Charlotte?
a road.
Yeah. All right. Well, whatever.
I'm not
Whatever
good. I'm
interstate
not
that
good.
is.
I don't know. I don't know the interstates, man.
Whatever
I just
interstate that is. Because I was
you know
texting
what I
Nats, man.
do?
I'm like, hey, how close am I to you?
What is the directions to?
Yeah. But to your point, though, right? Like, so when I collect, like, hockey's like a hard sport for me to collect because, well, it's not. It is and it isn't because I'm just 100,000% Boston Bruins,
I think
nothing
Carlisle,
else.
right. Yeah, that's what I am.
No, it's. I don't know. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's 75.
It's a bunch
Now
of
I'm gonna
different
look.
highways that go through there.
I'm gonna look because it's driving me nuts.
Yeah, Nats man's not here. He was watching. He sent me a message about my story earlier.
Let's see.
I-95 goes east of Charlotte. That's weird because 95
70.
really,
It is. It's 77.
77.
Interstate 77. That's what I drove up. Because I was texting him saying, "Hey, where are you? I'm gonna stop by for some food." And apparently he was like an hour and a half or something off that. So I was like, "Well, I guess I'm not stopping."
He's right outside of Charlotte.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So what, Scott? What I was saying though, with collecting, so hockey's like I've kind of cooled a little bit on hockey because I'm straight Bruins and I think that's just the nature of the way I've grown up. Like I like the Bruins and I really like don't like anybody else. Like I like Sidney Crosby. I like Connor McDavid. Other than that, I don't like anybody. I hope they all lose and suck. Like baseball though, baseball is one of those things where I just feel like it doesn't necessarily like you don't have to collect just the Red Sox, right? There's so many players. There's so much history to it, and there's history to every sport, right? But for me, I just feel like when I'm buying baseball cards and reacquiring some things that I had, it just there's a different feeling to it. Does that make sense?
Like, yeah, because I'm in the same boat. Yeah, so I-77 time.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
I'm in the same, but I just do Washington for hockey, 99%. But I like to pick up some of the rookies or some of the nicer cards from the 90s from where I used to love it. What is it? NHL 93, I think, for Sega was
the game that
really got me into it. So me and my buddy, our first house we had a room that was just lined with we go into Sports Illustrated, take out all the pictures and put them up on the wall of all the hockey players. So it was like we got the hockey gods. So I have Lemieux and I have Yager. I have what's his face that played with the Flyers, the big dude. God, what is his name?
Lindros.
Yes, Eric Lindros. I have, some of those guys that I really. JD's channel name is JD Sports Cards.
Yeah, right? JD Sports Cards. It's real original.
Yeah. And then I'll put a link in my description below after this, Don, to that and to Card Hedger, because check it out and see. You'll be very quick on why it's different from the other ones that are out there.
And we're not to spend a minute talking about business or whatever, but we're revamping some of our site like quite a bit and really trying to focus on collecting and collectors. So we're going to roll out some features here over the next few months with like that the guys that like to set build and player collect. You're going to be able to upload that into your portfolio and then basically have like check boxes as you go of cards and things like that. And there's some other stuff we have in the pipeline that's actually kind of cool. From like a
and
tech.
You have an app, and you got an app.
Yeah, finally we have an app on Google and Apple. But yeah, it's we've got some cool stuff. You know, we're really trying to be
non-sports,
different, all sports, trading cards, Pokemon, Magic, racing. I don't know. I don't pay a garbage pail. I don't do that stuff, so I don't necessarily click that drop down menu to see what else is there. But there's other Star Wars is there. I know you're a big Star Wars guy.
Yes. I need to look at it. I keep looking at it, and I haven't really gone in depth with it. But
yeah, I don't know. Like
Star Wars,
I don't even know what.
So
I know it's there, other than what cards or whatever. I don't know. I don't even know like anything about it. So I just plead the fifth.
I hear you. Yeah,
it's easier that way. Yeah, I did. I came up from Columbia. Yeah. No, I never ever got back on 95. I ended up in the Shenandoah Valley.
Oh, you took 81.
Yeah. Yep. I completely did not touch 95 on my way home.
Blacksburg to 80.
Yeah.
You're probably in the Roanoke area.
Yeah. I drove by like JMU. I ended up in West Virginia, sang some John Denver, and then ended up like going through New York and then into Connecticut and then back home to Rhode Island. So
yeah, we call JMU just missed UVA. So.
Yeah.
for people that went there and for people that drive to JMU, just missed UVA, went right by it.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing on that end, man. I'm excited for it. I think that, you know, by the end of the year, I think we'll have a really nice product for people. I think it's nice now. I don't think it's like anything that's not nice. I just think that the shift we're kind of trying to make and who we want to appeal to is certainly more of a collector base than it is kind of anything else. Is John Denver from Denver? That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think so. But my thing with that is with y'all doing this, and one last thing, and then we're going well past an hours. It just feels like to me it's an app for guys that collect but sell to add to their collection. It's you're in the hobby to be in the hobby. You're not in the hobby to make money or scholarship. So it just to me is there's that back is that to me is a big thing. So,
and I think like the big thing too, like we always try to get across or the best we can anyway, is like we're normal human beings, right? Yeah. I don't know where Omar is today. I actually haven't heard from him yet, which is odd. He's probably hung over from that Mexican Coke he was drinking the other night.
Yes. If somebody caught that out of context, that would have been a good night.
Yeah. But yeah, so like the big thing for us is just we're normal guys that just happen to have an interest in the hobby.
It just seems like somebody was like, I think we can make a better product, and you put your money where your mouth hole is, and
I mean, I think
that's what it seems like to me.
I don't know if it's necessarily like better, right? Because I think each, and I don't use the others, so I don't know all of their ins and outs. But I think anything that's innovative, right, is always cool, right, in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's a marketplace, whether it's a pricing app, whether it's a scanning app, whatever it is. I think that stuff is cool because, listen, technology is not going away. It's just going to continue to like take over our lives and, whatever. But I also think that, like we started talking about early on with like the influencer side of it, things like that. Like on my channel, I try really hard to just talk like a normal guy. I'm not anybody. I'm certainly you have more knowledge than me. Everybody has more knowledge than me. I don't want to seem like I have knowledge of like I'm an expert, because I'm not. And I don't claim to be, nor do I ever want to be. I like cards. I like uncovering things. I like learning, and I like, kind of like Eric says, right? Like, share your knowledge.
Right.
I like that. You know, I like that mantra of like, hey, you find something cool. How many other people know about this?
Right.
And maybe it's something interesting. I don't know. I share things, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, oh well. And I can tell by my views if it works or not, you know? So,
Right. Yeah. And well, the way you share things is unique too. I tell people, I like how you started showing your reveals. Uh, you're using Card Hedge for that, but you're not using Card Hedge to promote. I split an X and I'm going to make X. You're just
sure.
using it to show this is what's out there. You have a
Yeah.
product, you should be
Yep.
using it,
Yep.
and it's just that simple.
Yep.
You're not picking and choosing which cards are on there like it seems like the other guys do on theirs.
Yeah. My goal has always been, right? Like, I was that kid, and I'm sure most of us were, that when the new Beckett Monthly came out, you went to the card shop, you rode your bike up there, you got it, and you freaking scoured that thing from front to back for the entire month until the next one came out, right? I always liked that as a kid, and I like that now, because ultimately, like, and I say this time and time again, I do feel that there is a monetary value to cards, right? There is. And the things that I buy to put away in my cases, I'm hoping that in 5, 10, 20 years, like if my son takes over and he's starting to get interested now, that they're worth something for him and he can do something with them, or we can share that together, and I could trade those for something else that I maybe never thought I'd ever have. The hard part with the stuff in my cases, which is probably, you know, similar to you, I don't want to get rid of any of that stuff.
Right.
You know, I take it out, I look at it. Like,
I've heard you say that the problem is you'll send 20 cards to get graded. You're thinking 5 of them are going to sell, and then when you get them back, it's hard to say, now I want to sell them.
yeah.
It's just, and I like hearing those stories, but also I know that feeling, because when I do send stuff, I usually send 1 or 2 thinking it's either going to trade or selling or something like that. So that's always funny. I always giggle to myself when I hear those. I had something else in my brain, but let's call it a night there. JD,
Sure.
again, it's JD Sports Cards, Card Hedger. He is with Omar on Retro Hoops Collectibles.
Yep.
On Saturday, they usually drop their podcast. It's great. It's like they could be my cousins on that one, because it should be hobby, but it's just 2 guys enjoying the friendship created through the hobby.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the greatest thing. So I go and give them a listen, and till next time, like, share, tell a friend, subscribe if you haven't. Welcome to the new subscribers this week. Till next time, see ya.